Good morning and welcome to Get Real America. I am Brittany Brown and I am running solo today. Bill has taken his Christmas vacation early, so he will be out today and tomorrow. But you do have me, so that's exciting. It's really cold here in Savannah, so make sure that you are taking a jacket out when you leave the house today. Well, I'm sure that you guys all heard the news. Colorado Supreme Court rules on the 14th Amendment, saying that, Trump is an insurrectionist and will not be allowed on the ballot. So, these four judges, I think we have the photos of them. They are the four that made the decision that Trump would be taken off the ballot. I don't know what you do in a country when you have a Supreme Court in Colorado doing this kind of stuff. Don't they all look lovely? They really look like they care about the justice system. So they're all in their robes, if that makes a difference. But I do think that, this is crazy. Crazy. I don't even know what to say about this. When they start taking people off the ballot in this way, I think you're asking for the country to split. I'm sure that one of the Republican states could definitely find a way to take Joe Biden off of the ballot for this or that reason. And who knows, it may come to that. We might fight dirty. I doubt it because we're Republicans. But, one thing, Frank Luntz, who is no fan of the president, he had this to say about them taking him off the ballot. So I believe that's clip 8, Frank Luntz.
And for more on the political impact, we're joined now by pollster and communication strategist Frank Luntz, who has been getting the pulse of Trump voters for years. So the obvious first question, Frank, what do you think the impact of this ruling will be on their support for him?
It's going to be exactly what the indictments did. It's going to be exactly what the criticisms have done. Donald Trump thrives on negativity. He thrives on legal systems that try to hold him accountable. And I'm convinced that his polling numbers are going to go up. Just today, the New York Times published 6 key swing states and had Donald Trump up beyond the margin of error in 5 out of the 6. The polling earlier, a month ago, was significant. Trump is gaining. The more that he is prosecuted, the more that he is condemned, the higher his numbers go as people rally around him. And I would say to the judges, as I said to the Justice Department, you're actually making it more likely that Donald Trump is elected next November by how you are pursuing this. You don't explain the decisions. You don't put things in context. And so Trump climbs and climbs and climbs. And right now, he's beating Joe Biden clearly nationwide.
Well, for the judges would say, look, we're just going by the law without fear of favor. And but does the context even matter to Trump supporters? Because there have been, tonight's ruling was really lengthy, explaining point by point why they believe he incited the insurrection, why the 14th Amendment applies to him. But to the average Trump supporter, does that context even matter? Is this more about, once again, Trump is the victim of the deep state kind of thinking?
It actually proves Trump's point. It proves that the people in charge, the people in power, are trying to take him down. But you're not trying to reach all the Trump voters. You're simply trying to reach 3 or 4% of them that will make a difference in this election. Now, make no mistake, there is very few undecided voters right now. There are very few people going back and forth between Trump and Biden. It's more about those people who are trying to decide whether or not to vote. And I got to tell you, Nikki Haley was gaining and gaining and gaining every single day. But she's going to be lost in the coverage for the next few days, maybe for the next couple of weeks. As Trump turns this to his advantage, he is the best victim politician I have ever seen in my 35 years in doing this. And this is exactly what he would have wanted in the run-up to the Iowa caucus.
Very quickly, because it stuck out to me in looking at these polls, how many people who sat out in 2020 are now saying they're going to vote and they're going to vote for Trump. So you think this just sort of supercharges that, right? It's going to just
Yes.
bring more people out to vote for him who maybe
And the
sat out
state that
before.
the state that blew me away was Nevada, because that's a state with a significant percentage of Latino votes. Trump has been screaming about illegal immigration, and Nevada seems to be rewarding him for the language that he uses and for the intensity of his message. If Nevada's going this much for Trump, that ought to send you a big signal about what's happening in America today.
All right, Frank Luntz, thank you so much.
Yeah, Frank Luntz, not a fan of the former president, Donald Trump. And I think that he's right. I think that this is only going to help Donald Trump. Although I will say, I don't think Donald Trump made himself the victim. I think that the corporate media did that, as well as all the people that tried to impeach him multiple times. So I don't really think that he did that to himself. But yes, he knows how to use the press. So congratulations to the former president that he can do that. Mary McCann Highbreeder, this is a very bad legal precedent. Absolutely. Lizzie Warren, there is real evidence that Biden committed real crimes. Exactly. So taking him off a ballot in another state, one of the states that comes to mind to me is Texas. Ken Paxton, one of the best AGs we have out there. If he can find a way, he will. So it'll be interesting. And then Mary McCann Highbreeder said it smacks of desperation. It absolutely does. And again, I think it also makes him more relatable to people, like the fact that he's being politically prosecuted or persecuted. I think that it's gonna have the opposite effect, but I do think that in the process, it's going to tear this country apart. And that's where it becomes really dangerous. And Trump, of course, released a statement because that's what he does. And in his statement, he says, unsurprisingly, all Democrat-appointed Colorado Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump supporting a Soros-funded left-wing group's scheme to interfere in an election on behalf of crooked Joe Biden by removing President Trump's name from the ballot and eliminating the rights of Colorado voters to vote for the candidate of their choice. Democrat Party leaders are in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls. They have lost faith in the failed Biden presidency and are now doing everything they can to stop the American voters from throwing them out of office next November. The Colorado Supreme Court issued a completely flawed decision tonight, and we will swiftly file an appeal to the United States Supreme Court and a concurrent request for a stay of this deeply undemocratic decision. We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to all these un-American lawsuits. And that was the Trump campaign spokesman, Stephen Chang. And man, I can't believe they did this. And I do think that there's going to be some complications as we move forward. However, there's a couple of things that are good that are happening. And one of them is that Vivek, he did not wait. He did not pause. He came right out and he said this.
They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution. This was a provision, Section 3, that was designed to bar Confederate members, people who switched to the Confederacy, from actually being able to serve. That's very different than what's at issue here, to say the least. This is a hollowed out husk of what the country was built on. The basic principle that we, the people, select our leadership, not the unelected elite class in the back of palace halls. That's old world Europe, not the United States. That's why I'm making a pledge today that I will withdraw, I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot unless and until Trump's name is restored. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic. I refuse to be complicit in that. I think what they're doing is wrong. And I think it's up to Republicans to step up and stand up with a spine for our country's future. That's really what's at stake. Whether we, the people, actually have a say in deciding who leads this country. Yes, it would be easier for other Republicans like me who are running in this race to say, hey, if Trump is sidelined, There's our opportunity. No doubt other candidates are probably privately celebrating with their corporate sponsors. That's not the right thing to do. I think the most useful thing that every GOP candidate can do right now is to join me in that pledge. I'll say that I will withdraw from that Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump's name is restored. This belongs to the people, not to the unelected Democratic cabal of judges in Colorado or any other state. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, or else they're complicit in what this security state is trying to do to shut down Trump. I stand by that, and I expect them to do the right thing.
One of the things that I think is Vivek's strong suit is that he does not wait. He does not pause. He does not wait for a consultant to tell him what to do, which I think has really hurt the Republican Party in the past. He is one that I think is running the right campaign. I do think that Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, if they do not also come up and stand up for Donald Trump, I think it will hurt them in the polls. I think it'll hurt them with people. I will say that the Colorado GOP, the state GOP, has said that if Trump is not on the ballot, they will cancel their primary in the state of Colorado, which, I mean, it could get interesting. Romney McDaniel, she also came out yesterday and said that they will be fighting this in the courts. So at least she's on board for that. We'll see how hard they fight for Donald Trump. But she did come out and make a statement yesterday that they would be fighting this in the courts because it is not up to these justices, these state Supreme Court justices, to decide who is on the ballot in Colorado, and that the Republican voters in Colorado have every right to decide and have a choice of who their candidate is. Lizzie Warren says Democrat judges have demonstrated they do not trust the voters and will impose their will on their voters. Absolutely. And I think that this is where we're starting to see the disintegration of standards in our country. And also, they're ruling with an iron fist, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. And I think that that's what the scariest thing to me is that they don't care. They don't care if you know that they are, They don't care about democracy, even though they're saving democracy by doing this, according to some of them. Mary McCann Highbreeder says to Lizzie Warren, aren't judges supposed to follow the law and not politics? And Lizzie Warren says Nikki Haley will withdraw when pigs fly, and Mary, judges have become partisan politicians. They absolutely have. And we're, on that note, we're going to be talking about these judges, some of them, and how they get picked, and are they really qualified? So when we get back, we'll be taking a look into that.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America. I'm Brittany Brown, and Bill is out on vacation, going to enjoy the holidays. He'll be back at the beginning of the year. So, we were talking before the break about these judges, and I'm a little concerned at how deep this goes because we're seeing it at every level. These judges that really, they have no, they don't have any ability to separate out the law from their activism, which I think is very concerning. But we've seen it at every level in the Justice Department, and I don't think that it's going anywhere anytime soon. And at this point, how do you get rid of these people? Like, what do you do? And Steve Stanton Sr. is with us. He's like, do not be surprised if Trump is not in the world this time next year. If we, the people, are not convinced by now, nothing will. Yes, I think that that's a huge concern. The assassination of Donald Trump. I mentioned yesterday that I did think that it was interesting that they've lined up all of these court cases. They can basically, they know where he is. they can dictate where he goes when he goes there, and it wouldn't be hard for something to happen. So I'm hoping that he has a really good CIA people looking after him, but you never know. JFK thought that he did too, so we shall see. But jumping into these judges, I think John Kennedy is probably one of my favorite senators. I think that he does a great job. And when he questions judges, he asks them specifics, and this is what it looks like.
Tell me what Article 5 of the Constitution does.
Article 5 is not coming to mind at the moment.
Okay. How about Article 2?
Neither is Article 2.
Judge Cruz, you handled a case called ViaNet Operating Group v. Maurice. Is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
You remember a case called Yentzer v. Potter County?
I don't know if I recall the details of it.
The higher court said you incorrectly analyzed qualified immunity and you incorrectly cited the 11th Amendment. Tell me about the Dormant Commerce Clause.
Senator, I'm somewhat familiar with the Commerce Clause, which is found in Article 1 of the Constitution.
It was a big Supreme Court case. It just came out of your state.
And I apologize, Senator. In my 11 years of practice and my 5 years on the bench, I have not dealt with the Dormant Commerce Clause.
Do you remember a case called Janney v. Gomez?
Yes, Senator.
And were you reversed in that case?
A portion of that was reversed as well, Senator.
Okay. Do you know what purposivism is?
In my 12 years as an assistant attorney general and my 9 years serving as a judge, I was not faced with that precise question.
How about a case, do you remember this case, Judge Schwartz v. City of Denver?
The name is familiar, Senator. For all the cases I've handled, I'm not recalling particulars about that case.
Okay. Do you remember being reversed in that case?
Senator, I'm not specifically recalling that case.
Ms. Hill, what is collateral estoppel?
Collateral estoppel. I certainly do know collateral estoppel. I'm finding that the bright lights of the moment are making it hard for me to recall it.
Okay, so you don't recall it. Okay. Do you remember a case called Dennis v. Sheridan?
Yes, I believe I recall that case as well.
And you were reversed in that case too?
The district court declined to adopt the report and
The higher
recommendation.
court said you were wrong.
The district court disagreed with my report, yes.
Yeah, okay. Judge Hugh, tell me about New York Times v. Sullivan.
I believe that was a First Amendment case, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Senator, about free speech. But in my 5 years of being a judge and 25 years of practice, I haven't had to actually apply New York Times v. Sullivan.
Tell me how you analyze a Brady motion.
How I analyze a Brady motion?
Yes.
Senator, in my 4.5 years on the bench, don't believe I've had the occasion to address a Brady motion in my career.
Do you know what a Brady motion is?
Senator, in my time on the bench, I've not had occasion to address that, and so it's not coming to mind at the moment what a Brady motion is.
Do you recall the U.S. Supreme Court case, Brady v. Maryland?
I do recall the name of the case, Senator, yes.
And what did it hold?
I believe that the Brady case well, Senator, I believe the Brady case involves something regarding the Second Amendment. It is not. I've not had occasion to address that. If that issue were to come before me, I would certainly analyze that Supreme Court precedent.
So this is not a small question to miss. The Brady that Senator Kennedy referred to emanates from the Supreme Court case that requires government to turn over exculpatory evidence to the defense. That's the core of our justice system. This guy, who wants to be a federal judge, had no clue what it was. That's a deal ender right there.
What is the difference between a stay order and an injunction?
A stay order would prohibit, an injunction would restrain the parties from taking action. A stay order, I'm not sure that I actually can give you that.
If that tells you anything about the judges that are on the bench, we're in bad shape. These people had no idea. This is what they do for a living. And Brady motion, Lizzie Warren says, geez, I know what a Brady motion is. That seems pretty basic, especially because the goal of the government is to protect the people. That would be what I would think the judicial system is also for. So if you don't know what a Brady motion is, it could impact every case. So depending on if the government is involved or what information you need from the government and the information they have to provide. So I was a little appalled watching that. And Steve Stanton Sr. says, you get what your agendas say you get. Yeah, apparently so. But a little concerned about the judges that we've placed all over the country in the last, decade, especially when you look at how awful they've been during all of these processes, including a case that has been going on for decades as well, but came to light about 5 years ago, the Epstein case. And I think that this is something that we're all very curious of who's in that black book. Of course, Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty. And but no one was told who she trafficked children to, but she was found guilty of trafficking children. So pretty interesting. But I think 170 of the Jeffrey Epstein high-profile associates will be named in court documents set to be unsealed in the first days of 2024. Could get very interesting. The federal judge, Loretta Preska, is, I would recommend that she definitely have a lot of security, because I know that there's a lot of people that are not going to be happy about this. But the other thing is what names are they going to release? And I wouldn't be surprised to see Donald Trump's name on that list. It would not surprise me at all. I do know that RFK Jr. said that he flew on the airplane with his children looking for shark teeth or something. So also kind of interesting that he would admit to that, because who knows whose name is going to be on that list when it comes out. I'm sure that there are way more than 170 names. So I'm interested to see why they only chose 170 names. I did hear that there would be, like some victims on there, as well as like some maids and things like that. So we'll see what the 170 names is. It should be released in the first days of 2024. So hopefully by mid-January, we'll know who's on that list. And I would just like to see the whole black book. I'm sure that we would see some congressmen and some senators on there. I'm sure it would be very damning to the country for us to see who is on that list. But I don't really know. I don't really know if they're gonna expose everyone, but I do think that they will do anything they can to damage Republicans. So I think that they'll probably be some of the first ones listed on that list. And like I said, wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump is listed. Not sure I believe what they're going to insinuate after that, but we shall see. And moving on to, of course, my favorite topic, the border. I think it's one of the most important topics of the day at this point in time. There's a lot of scary stuff coming over the border. There's a lot of, they're trying to hide it. Border Patrol is also contributing to a lot of this. They're actually putting trucks and buses and things up against the border so you can't see a lot of stuff. And Mary McCann Hybrider says Epstein Island was a blackmail operation. It absolutely was. So a lot of people are going to be on that list. I I think the Clintons were heavily involved. I think Bill Gates, according to his wife, had a very friendly relationship with Epstein, and it'll be interesting if they release his name or not. Not that you can do anything to Bill Gates, because it seems like he just is going to run the world when it comes to our food and everything else. So, Brandon Johnson, who is, of course, the lovely mayor from Chicago, who is further left than Lori Lightfoot, which we thought couldn't get any worse, but here we are, it does. And people in Chicago are mad. They're mad about what's going on. They're mad about the accommodations that are being given to illegal immigrants coming into this country. And this is what he had to say and who he had to blame for what's going on.
The issue is not just how we respond in the city of Chicago, it's the fact that we have a governor, an elected official in the state of Texas that is placing families on buses without shoes, cold, wet, tired, hungry, afraid, traumatized, and then they come to the city of Chicago where we have homelessness, we have mental health clinics that have been shut down and closed. You have people who are seeking employment. The governor of Texas needs to take a look in the mirror of the chaos that he is causing for this country. This is not just a Chicago dynamic. He is attacking our country.
Yeah, I love that he blames Governor Abbott, but yet these people are coming into the country regardless. And Abbott doesn't have to send them there. I mean, the federal government's doing it. I mean, they're flying on planes, they're getting on trains, they're on automobiles, they're on buses. So I love that he blames the Republican, of course. And Steve Stanton Sr. says, again, does your agenda say you get on the boarded? And Mary McCann Highbreeder, many innocent people were also on that list. Not everyone took the bait in regards to Epstein. And Steve Stanton Sr., he blames the governor for the president's agenda, right? Like they're aligned on something. Mary McCann Highbreeder, oh my gosh, the Chicago mayor is blaming Abbott. What about Biden? That's the thing. It's very interesting. And I think that they've gone way too far. There's no, they're not going to be able to put lipstick on this pig, as Bill would say. I don't think that they're too exposed at this point. I think with social media, I think with all of the counter narratives going on, I don't think they have an opportunity to blame this on the Republican governor, especially when they see that, you know, they're being shipped up there and they're accommodating them in Chicago. It's not like they're saying that they need to go back. They're accommodating them. So they're inviting them in, and that's what's making people mad. So I'm not really sure how this is going to play out for the Chicago mayor, but I don't believe it's going to be good. Lizzie Warren, don't campaign on being a sanctuary city and then complain about being a sanctuary city. That's absolutely right. And I think New York feels that pain, although it's amazing how the mayor of New York ended up going to South America, and all of a sudden he kind of has like laid off complaining a lot. So I wonder what deal he made with people in order to keep illegals coming to his area without being super public about things. So I'm interested to see how that will play out as well. New York is not a place I want to be, neither is Chicago. Fill in big city. I have no desire to be in any of them. I'm hoping that we also get a little bit more information on what's going on in our own state, in Georgia. I think Atlanta has a lot of illegals coming in. I think Savannah probably has a good amount because of our airport and accessibility here. So I'm interested to see if we ever get the breakdown of that, but we'll see. When we get back, today is the show of Vivek. I think that he's doing a great job. I think that the fact that he came out and he has never slammed the president, Donald Trump, I think that he has done a good job of balancing, hey, we need a new generation, with he did a great job. He's the best president of my lifetime. I think he's done a good job balancing that. I think the fact that he came out immediately after the ruling and said that he will remove himself from the ballot, and he called out everyone else to do the same. I think that that's a really big deal, and I think that he's doing the right things. Vivek may have some things you don't like about him, but I will say I do think that he is a person of integrity, that he's willing to do this. And when we get back, we're going to get his take on the border.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934. With personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
What happened?
Well, when you opened up the Chewy box, you went a bit...
Bonkers. That's one word for it.
I guess I blacked out. This is the best squeaky toy ever.
Probably shouldn't, but we did get you a few more gifts.
Honey.
Ooh, there's more.
Chewy's prices were so great.
You don't need to explain yourself, Linda. Keep on saving.
Pets aren't just pets. They're more.
Well, I hope I got a leaf blower this year.
You got a turtleneck.
Unwrap the excitement this holiday season with great deals from Chewy.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America. I'm Brittany Brown. Bill is on vacation starting this week, so he will be back at the beginning of the year. So we were talking right before the break about Brandon Johnson, and he's the Chicago mayor, of course, blaming Greg Abbott for all of the illegals coming into Chicago. It's amazing how you can do that. Vivek has been really good on policy. And I think that's going to serve him at some point. I'm not really sure what his role will be moving forward, but I do think that he has a pretty big political career coming up because of how great he's been on coming out and being bold in his statements. And he had a lot to say about the border, whether it's the problems or the solutions. And I really liked what he had to say.
So we're seeing a few things happening today at the border. One is the largest number of illegal migrants crossing at Eagle Pass, Texas. And another is now reports that Delta Airlines is now being used to provide some premium flights to those illegal migrants that have come across that southern border. I visited Eagle Pass about a couple months ago. It's not like what you expect. It's not like these people are crossing that southern border and then our Border Patrol is chasing them down. No, it's not working that way. Our own Customs and Border Patrol and our own federal officials are facilitating it, processing them, basically taking an asylum claim at face value, just checking that box for an asylum court date that could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years out into the future. That's what's happening. And now they're actually closing down commerce, closing down people who are on railroads and otherwise to be redirected to help process these migrants. That's what's going on in this country. That's not America first, that's America last. Let me just tell you about some very practical things we got to do immediately out of the gate, and then let's work our way to the more ambitious things that I'm going to get done as the president. First of all, very practically, like right now. I'm not talking about like tomorrow or next year. I'm talking about like literally right now, as we speak, as this is playing out. One thing that Biden and Mayorkas, I mean, Biden's not really doing anything. He's a puppet. But Mayorkas and the deep state puppetry and the Department of Homeland Security needs to do is require that at least if you're going to check the box of asylum, you have to provide proof of political persecution. That's something that they're not doing today, so it ends up being, they even just teach you even in foreign languages how to say you're seeking asylum. You got to at minimum provide proof of political persecution. That's something that needs to happen like today, December 19, 2023, now. Now let's talk about some basic solutions that I'm going to bring to bear after I'm elected. First of all, not a dime of foreign aid should go to any Central American country or Mexico. Any dollar of ours that goes to those countries should be used to do one thing. Build a wall on each of those countries' borders. Border security all the way for each of those countries from Venezuela to the northern border of Mexico. Through the Darien Pass and otherwise, where migrants are illegally crossing daily all the way to the southern border of the United States. That's the first thing. Second thing is, and when I went down to Eagle Pass, we saw this. Use aquatic barriers in the Rio Grande. They're cheap. They're mobile. That immediately deters migrants from crossing that Rio Grande. I saw it with my own eyes, the way those migrants are crossing. Texas is trying to use these aquatic barriers. The reason the federal government isn't using them isn't because these things don't work. Sadly, it's because they do work. Well, you know what? We're going to put those to use. Then it's not just a matter of building the wall. We will complete the wall and the construction of the wall at the southern border and for much of the northern border too. but they're building cartel-financed tunnels underneath that wall. So we have to go further and use our own military. Here's a radical idea here for a second. Not to defend somebody else's border in some random godforsaken place halfway around the world, but to use our own military to defend our own border in this country, our southern border and our northern border too. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think the president has the legal authority to do it. I think it's common sense, and many, if not most, in our U.S. military would be honored to actually protect our own borders in this country. And I think that's how we have to respect our own military, is use our military resources to protect our own citizens here in the homeland. And then let's get to the best border security policies of all. End the incentives to be here illegally. Number one, stop using federal taxpayer money to fund sanctuary cities, to pay for the breakage of the rule of law using our own money to do it. No, that stops on my watch. And the second thing is end birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal migrants to whom it was never supposed to apply. Read the opening words of the 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. Well, what are those extra words doing there? If the kid of a Mexican diplomat born in this country, who's here legally, does not enjoy birthright citizenship, and he doesn't, nobody disputes that, then the kid of an illegal Mexican or Venezuelan migrant in this country should not enjoy birthright citizenship either. It's that simple. And then go the extra distance. This is the hard part that many Republicans don't want to touch, but I think we got to do the hard thing. Anybody who's in this country illegally must be returned to their country of origin. How? They say there's only 6,000 ICE agents. Well, there's a provision in the law, 287G, that allows anybody who's an ICE officer to be able to give local law enforcement the ability to serve their warrants. That's how we get this done. The country that put a man on the moon can do this. That's 1 million then effectively law enforcement personnel who can get that job done. It's not rocket science, but it takes the political will to do it. It's not a technical challenge. It's a normative challenge, and we need a president with the spine, and if I may say it, with the knowledge of how to see this through. That's what I'm bringing to the table. It's not complicated. Let's get it done.
Yes, I think that he's been the best on releasing videos and making sure that his policy is very clear, and he explains why he needs to do the things that we need to do in this country to get back on track. Steve Stanton Sr. says, create a problem so big, it will take a generation to figure it out, then get asylum. Then they get asylum. I think that we've already done this once. I think that we allowed all these people to come in and then we gave them citizenship, and now we're building up to that again. And it's, the Democrat game. We should not be giving these people citizenship. They should not be allowed to work in this country. They need to go back to the countries in which they came from. Only the MAGA-crats make America godless always, says Steve Stanton Sr., and he's a damn near perfect candidate. Just can't get over the religion. I get that, Steve. I definitely get that. But I do think that he is, he's been so good on so many issues. And Lizzie Warren says, how to send them back? 0 freebies, no benefits, no free school. Children of illegal immigrants who attend the public schools should pay $20,000 per child. To the SCCPSS. That's the Savannah Chatham County area schools here. And yes, I think that we do need to be. We need to protect American children. We need to protect Americans. You guys saw the heartbreaking story coming out of Chicago this week of a man who was approved for his benefits. He has a disability. His heart only works at 26%. That's a big deal. He's been on the streets for 2 months because they will not give him his benefits. But yet, if you walk over the border, here's $5,000. Here's a plane ticket, and they'll take care of you. They'll shuttle you wherever you need to go. And we have to stop that. And Americans should be angry, but not. We need to be angry and do something. And that doesn't mean be violent. I think that that's what they're trying to get. They're trying to get a rise out of the right. And we absolutely cannot give that to them. We need to continue to fight. And as Donald Trump said, go out and vote. We have to overwhelm the voting. And that's what we have to do. I think that if we get caught up in some of this violent stuff, there will be more arrests. We will see them turn us all into January 6ers, and that's not going to be good for anyone. And then you're not able to fight for your kids and your grandkids. So I do think that we need to continue to talk about voting. We need everyone to turn out, and we need it to be overwhelming because we all know that there's been some problems with the election. So Ben Bergquam, one of my favorites, of course, was in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, the airport there. And walking around, these people are they have no idea what they're doing. There are so many illegals everywhere. And if you're flying, let us know over the holidays if you're seeing this as well.
Flying back from Phoenix, illegals everywhere. Got the word that Colorado is trying to keep President Trump off the ballot. These leftist activist judges, as illegals just keep coming in everywhere. This is the only way they can win, guys. The only way Democrats can win is to cheat, because they know the American people are waking up. They are sick and tired of this. Our country is invaded. Our country is invaded. This is not an accident. This is not an accident, guys. It's not an accident. ¿De dónde son? Venezuela. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos?
Vamos a Los Ángeles, pero estamos buscando ahora esto,
Oh, Las Vegas.
Ya hicimos, ya viajamos hasta aquí. Ahora
And Los Angeles? Okay. Those guys had no clue where they're going. Everywhere you go, it's like that. They have no clue where they're going. Expecting you to help them find it. Those guys seem nice enough, but 10 million people, guys. 10 million people is what Joe Biden and the Democrats have allowed to invade our country. And now they're trying to take Trump off the ballot because they know everybody in America is waking up. Everybody's waking up. They are asking for a civil war, guys. That's what they're asking for. Steal the election after they allowed Antifa and BLM to burn down our country for 4 years. And now they call Trump an insurrectionist. Past the Bakersfield gate, go to Bakersfield. Everywhere, guys, everywhere. Nicaragua? ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos?
Voy para Denver, Colorado.
Denver, okay. Good. There you go, Denver. Coming. Everywhere, everywhere. Biden did this, Mayorkas did this, the Democrats did this, Open Borders Democrats did this, and they know they can't stop what's coming in November. This shows you how worried they are, because they're going to cheat anyways. They're going to cheat on the election again. We haven't fixed it. But they are so worried that America's waking up that they're trying to take Trump off the ballot. That's how scared they are. If we let them do that, it's over. Guatemala, ¿dónde vas?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay. Where are you from? D'où venez tu?
Haiti.
Haiti, okay. Où vas-tu? New York, okay. New York, okay. From Haiti, all right. From Haiti, going to New York. Ah, okay, okay. Ah, okay. So that whole flight coming in from the border. Senegal? Senegal, okay. Oh, Philadelphia? Okay. From Senegal, it's going to Philadelphia. Everybody coming off of it. Haiti? You guys from Haiti? Okay. You speak English? Indiana, okay. Where'd you come from? McAllen? McAllen, okay. Yeah, so this whole plane's from McAllen. That whole flight from McAllen. 80% illegal. That is why they're trying to keep President Trump off the ballot, right there. Because they know America is wise to this. And the guy that I saw at the Phoenix airport with the Homeland Security bag tag, just as an update, is going to Washington Reagan, Washington, D.C., on his way. Huge numbers going to Raleigh, North Carolina as well. I'm telling you guys, every gate. Raleigh, North Carolina, everywhere. This is why they're trying to get President Trump off the ballot, because they know they are going to get crushed. They are going to get crushed, even with their election fraud. The Democrats are scared out of their minds because everyone is waking up to the invasion that Joe Biden and the Democrats caused. And just keep in mind, this is just a fraction of what's coming, because we have huge numbers being put on charter flights. They're booking out charter flights flying direct so you don't see them. They're on trains, they're on buses, they're in cars. This is a fraction of the millions that are coming to your neighborhood. Merry Christmas from Joe Biden.
What a Christmas gift from Joe Biden, isn't it? To have all these people in our country illegally. And Lizzie Warren says if you're in a group of people and an individual is advocating violence, that person is likely trying to set you up. I think we saw that throughout January 6th. All of the footage coming out, and yet they still are able to arrest people. Miriam Can Hybrider says American people need to unite. Time to take back our country. You're absolutely right. And united we stand, divided we fall. These are all God's children. They are all being used as pawns. It's so sad. Yeah, I think the amount of human trafficking going on with this border crisis, as well as the fentanyl coming over the border, and all of these military-age men coming in, which I find quite disturbing. Carrie Lake, who I'm sure most of you are familiar with, she is running for Senate in the great state of Arizona. And one of the things that she said that I thought was really interesting, when a man flees war, he takes his family with him. When a man heads to war, he leaves his family behind. There is not one single woman or child in this video captured in Lukeville, Arizona. Pray for America. I think that that's a really good point. It's hard to think why there are so many military-aged men coming into this country without women. And if they are coming in, they have children with them, which I'm sure are not their own children. So there's a lot of concern with this border issue. And I think it is the biggest issue we have right now, along with many others. But I do think that the border is going to impact us in ways that we can't even imagine. So we're going to take a break, but when we get back, there's someone that's starting to sound like a Republican, and I'm quite surprised about it. So when we get back, we'll be talking about that.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America. I am Brittany Brown, and I am flying solo today as Bill is out on Christmas vacation already, so you guys are stuck with me. We have been talking a lot about the border. We've been talking a lot about them taking Trump off the ballot, and earlier this week, Fetterman came out and said we should not be selling our American steel companies to foreign countries, regardless of if they're an ally or not. Japan is an ally of ours. However, selling our companies to these foreign countries is not good for us. I think it opens us up to a lot of risk. And, you know, I hate to say it, but John Fetterman, don't know what happened. I don't know if we got a bait and switch going on. Not really sure if, like, after his brain aneurysm or his stroke, he ended up becoming more conservative, but he is behaving more like a Republican than most Republicans. So this is the second time I've agreed with him this week.
In the Democratic Party, particularly among young voters when it comes to Israel's war against Hamas, 72% of young voters, according to this new poll, disapprove of how President Biden is handling the Israel-Hamas war. You've been very vocal in your full support for Israel. I see the Israeli flag behind you in your office there. You've been very clearly arguing that Hamas bears responsibility for the tragedy of what's going on in Gaza. Why do you think so many younger people, especially in your party, see it differently?
I really don't know. I do know that a lot of people are getting their perspective from TikTok. And I think if you're kind of getting your perspective on the world on TikTok, it's going to tend to be kind of warped or not reflective of the history and actually the way things absolutely are. And what is very clear is that Hamas started this, and they actually broke the ceasefire, and they attacked and murdered babies, children, women, attacked a music concert and everything. It's outrageous. And from now on, it's been very clear that Israel would very much want there to be peace. But they've made it very clear that after October 7th, that's just not possible so long as Hamas is allowed to exist.
On immigration, which is a big issue going on in the Senate right now, you recently said, quote, "I hope Democrats can understand that it isn't xenophobic to be concerned about the border," unquote.
Don't know what has happened to John Fetterman, but I like it. I do think that he is pushing the party back to some moderate stances, and supporting Israel should not be, it should not be controversial. And he's right. Hamas is the one that interrupted the ceasefire, and they started this. So I do think it's rather interesting how well he's speaking now. Before, he was having to use a computer and different things. So I do believe he's getting better, but he's also becoming more of a populist, which I really like. I'm not going to agree with him on everything, but I think we celebrate the small wins because I do think he will push the party back to some sort of moderation. You are seeing the younger people in the party that are more of leftists, and he's basically saying, he said this in the beginning, I am not a leftist. I am a blue dog Democrat. He's a Democrat populist, which I think when you have that mixture, I think that there is a lot we can work on the Republican populist side. I'm a big fan of national populism. I think that it's our country first. It doesn't mean that we don't care about other countries. I just think that it means we have to put our own face mask on first, like they say on the airplane. And, we'll see what happens. But I'm interested to see more from John Fetterman since he is kind of speaking more my language. Again, we're not going to agree on everything, but I do think it's quite interesting that he is not going along with the leftist propaganda that we're seeing. I do like the fact that he brought up TikTok and the fact that when you're getting your news from TikTok, it's a problem. And maybe tomorrow we'll show you guys one of the TikTok pranks going on with Christmas gas, which is hilarious. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but maybe we'll play some of those pranks that some of the young girls are playing on their fathers. But going to pranks, you have to love the Babylon Bee. If you didn't know, CEO Seth Dillon will be here in February 8th. He is the Savannah Care Center's speaker for their annual fundraiser. It should be quite hilarious, so make sure you get your tickets. But the Babylon Bee released a new type of doll for Christmas season.
This Christmas, get the fun activity your kids will love. Greta on the Shelf.
Greta sees you when you're sleeping. She knows when you drive your SUV to the store instead of taking public transportation. She knows if you've been bad.
Your children will love finding the Greta doll in new locations each day. When they do, she'll shame them for destroying the world. Perfect for the holiday season.
Okay, kids. Can you find Greta today?
Right there. You are destroying my planet, and you should be ashamed.
Greta on the Shelf is programmed to detect all kinds of environmental atrocities your kids might commit.
Turn that light off. Close that refrigerator door. Is that a plastic straw, you monster? Next time I see a plastic grocery bag, I will wrap it around your head. Did you cut down a real Christmas tree? That is murder.
This Christmas, get your kids the gift that says the world is ending and it's your fault. Buy Greta on the Shelf today.
I'm a big fan of the Babylon Bee. I thought that was hilarious. Greta on the Shelf. I was talking with a friend not too long ago about the Elf on a Shelf, which I find quite disturbing. I think it's really creepy that people do this. They basically use it to haze their children. But some of the pranks are really hilarious, but I do think it's kind of creepy that you're moving this Elf on a Shelf around your house. And, you know, I saw one where they drew on their child's face in the middle of the night with permanent marker. And I'm just like, that kid still has to go to school. So Steve Stanton Sr. says we lost the sound. Yeah, I'm not really sure. That's really weird. But as we go out, I do think that we have to play a little bit of Trump because, you know, because of what happened. And the fact that he is bringing up the point that the current person in the White House, Biden, has not mentioned anything about Christ this Christmas.
When Joe Biden lit the national Christmas tree earlier this month, he completely failed to even mention the birth of Jesus Christ, which is hard to do if you're celebrating Christmas, right? He didn't mention Jesus Christ in his remarks. Not for 3 years he hasn't mentioned that, and barely mentioned God. When I was president, we brought back the beautiful phrase, Merry Christmas, and I said I'd do that. I'm very proud of that, actually, because as I said at the beginning, that was really under siege. And when I lit the Christmas tree each year, it was my honor to publicly celebrate the true source of Christmas joy, which is Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think that that's something to remember, is that he has not brought up Jesus Christ in any of his Christmas addresses or anything in the last 3 years that he has been the president of the United States. I think that that's a big issue, and that's something that people should really think about. And I will say that I do love that he brought back Merry Christmas. I make sure to say Merry Christmas. I do not say Happy Holidays, so make sure when you guys are out and about over the next week or so, I guess Christmas Eve is on Sunday. So if you haven't finished your holiday shopping, you better get to it. But make sure you say Merry Christmas, and we will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to head out with with Veritas School, their choir.